Welcome to a new episode of The Good Talk here in studio at West Coast Creative Studio. Today we have Melanie Ann.
Yeah, hi.
Hi.
Thanks for having me.
Let's adjust this real quick.
Okay.
Let's talk right into the mic.
Okay.
Perfect. Awesome. All right. So we got Melanie here, and so you're here in this building producing a show?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I'm producing a show. It's called Nothing Special. It's a really fun event. We came here last year, was our first year in the building, and we just completely fell in love with the space. We're recreating Andy Warhol's factory from the 1960s. So we kind of dubbed ourselves as resurrecting that time period and bringing it to life. And so when we found the venue, we were like, this is the venue to do this. I mean, it looks amazing once it's all covered in tinfoil. So it's just like really perfect. And then when they invited us to come back this year, we were like, okay, we have so many ideas how to make
Cool.
it better.
So this is the show, by the way, right? This is
our magazine.
Okay,
That's
great.
like
We'll
an
get into this,
offshoot.
but I just kind of want to show this.
Yeah.
It's great. You guys are doing an amazing job with this.
Thank you.
But tell me a little bit about yourself. So I want to know like how you even thought of doing this. So tell me a little bit more about you.
Cool. Yeah. I am originally from Minnesota. I always wanted to be an actor. It was like my big dream. I moved out to LA pretty much as soon as I could. And I studied acting in undergrad. And then I went to a graduate program. It was like a 2-year acting program out in Hollywood. And I started one of our projects for the school, for the curriculum, was we had to write a one-person show. And everybody in the class had to do it. And I wrote mine and I just completely fell in love with it. And it had to be based off of a famous person in history. So I wanted to go into Warhol's world. And I picked, his most famous superstar and I played her. It's just me on a bed with a record player. And that was like essentially the idea, was that like this woman is getting ready for a party that she never gets to attend. Because she's like really addicted to drugs and alcohol. So she has all these big problems. So it's a really fun character to play. And I just fell in love with it. And so when I graduated, the show was so adaptable to any space that I started touring it around LA and New York. And I brought it to the Twin Cities a few years ago. So I've just been kind of self-producing and putting myself on stage with this idea and this concept for this is my 8th year doing it now.
Incredible.
Yeah.
So this thing you wrote this
Yeah.
in college.
Yeah.
How long was this like script?
The script was like 8 pages and it took about 35 minutes on stage because I did a 7-minute dance sequence.
And you
in it.
performed this yourself as well.
Yeah, I perform it. So I wrote it and then I perform it. It's really fun to write for yourself. You get to decide whatever you want to do. But for some reason, I kept putting like a dance sequence in the show, even though I'm not a dancer. But I think there's something kind of magical about that because it's really raw and vulnerable to like just put yourself in a position that you're not really comfortable in. So there was like a 7-minute dance sequence to the Velvet Underground's Heroin. And I kept that structure for 7 years. I was like just doing that show basically. And it was a little bit longer. I added some more script to it. Mm-hmm. So in the end, it was about 45 minutes.
And was it just you performing?
Just me.
Wow. Just you performing this. So you wrote this and performed.
Yeah.
And you would go on like on theaters and perform this all by yourself for like 30, 45 minutes?
Yeah. Yeah. It's so fun.
Can people find this anywhere? Like, is it like recorded?
Yeah, I have like the first version I ever did recorded on YouTube, like just on my personal channel. But I wouldn't recommend it. It's watching a play that's recorded on an iPhone or something. It's just really not, it doesn't give you like the real experience.
Got you.
It's very much like an in-person type of thing.
Yeah, 100%. I agree with what you just said. It's better to see it in person.
Yeah.
But it's cool to go back and be able to see like your old self, where you started.
Yeah. It's nice to have like an archive of the history of it. And like true to the scene of the factory, I always try to incorporate like a bunch of artists if I can. So as soon as I started doing it out of college, I had like a friend who I commissioned a bunch of artwork from, and she had an art gallery in the waiting room, and I've always had a live band afterwards, so that it really becomes like a scene. And I've always had an open bar, so that like you're really involved in this party that you just don't really get anywhere else. So that like the whole beyond just like staying on stage and performing for 45 minutes, the real like atmosphere of it is like so near and dear to me and like very important part of the story of it.
Yeah. No, I love it. So tell me more about the factory and how did you come up with this and who else is involved?
Yeah, so the factory kind of came about a year ago. And again, it's just playing off of Warhol's factory, but it's this artist collective that I started with my friends. A few of them had seen my show and have been supporting me for years, coming to all my shows, helping me sell tickets. And some of them I met just last year through them. So it ended up being, it's Allison Snyder, Dylan Snyder, Aparna Brielle, and Kristen Couture. And we are the 5 producers who are behind the factory now. And so it started last year. We got the space and we were putting up the show and we had all these new brains helping me bring the thing to life. And we got so many amazing, incredible photos. Dylan is an incredible photographer and he's also our technical director. We had all these amazing photos that when we finished, we were like, okay, what's next? Like, we love this so much. We have to keep going. That we were like, let's start a magazine. Like, with all these beautiful photos, like we have to do a magazine now.
Yeah.
And that's our second issue. So within the last year, this is our second show at this scale. And our second issue of the magazine, we have a third one coming out in the spring. We're doing 2 magazines a year now. And we throw all these underground parties throughout the year. But the big, like, Nothing Special stage play is like our biggest event of the year. Mm-hmm. And then throughout the year, we just have all these factory parties where we just like get together, party, make art, make music videos, make music sometimes. And yeah, it's really become this like true artist collective where everybody just gets to hang around and like bask in each other's talents.
Yeah. So tell me about Nothing Special. Is that a production company or what is that?
That's just the title of the play.
Okay,
Yeah.
so that is the title of the play.
Yeah.
And the factory is the title of the magazine?
It is the title of the magazine and it's also the collective, like
Okay.
the artist collective behind Nothing Special. So we are the people who bring Nothing Special to life.
Okay.
And we are the people who bring Factory Magazine to life.
And who else helps you write all these scripts?
I still do it all myself.
Really?
It's so precious to me.
I love that. So I went to one of these shows. It's in this building, so I was like lucky enough to like be able to go upstairs and check it out. And the writing, I fell in love with the writing. Just
thank you.
No, it was beautiful. And some of the things they were saying, I'm like, man, I gotta like write this down and like quote this because like I love this. It's so cool.
Well, that's the cool thing about the script is true to the original format as a part of my school assignment. The whole script had to be written through found text. So everything that is in the script is something that somebody in history has said before. So I took all of these quotes that I could find throughout the years. I've just been collecting quotes from books and music and people from the factory in the 60s, what they were saying at the time. And then I rearrange it like a puzzle to tell a new narrative that gets to tell the story that I want to talk about. So that's cool. Like the quotes are incredible, but then when you weave them together to tell this new story, it just becomes like something so much bigger than if I was just writing only from my own brain. It takes both, where it's like this is my brainchild and it's also a piece of history.
Yeah. How long does it take you to write? Let's say, how long are the other plays? They're like maybe 15 minutes?
Yeah. This year we have 3 plays going on kind of at the same time, and you walk around like an immersive art gallery experience. And I think officially they're 12 minutes long.
12 minutes,
Yeah.
okay. And how long does it take you to write a 12-minute script?
It took me maybe like, I guess conservatively I'll say a month.
Okay.
To write all 3.
All 3?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think I wrote all 3 in about a month.
Yeah. And then how much do you guys practice and to be able to perform this like flawlessly?
Oh, flawlessly.
I mean,
take
to
it.
me, that's you guys are doing it live, so
yeah, thank you.
It's great, yeah.
Yeah, we put a lot of work into it. We've been practicing. We've been at rehearsals once a week for the last 2 months.
Wow. Where do you rehearse? Is it here or somewhere else?
We rehearse at Allison's mom works at a church, and so she gave us like the access to the church, so we had a free rehearsal space. So we got to keep our expenses low. So we've been going to a church in Glendale every Tuesday night, and we rehearse.
Oh, nice. I live in Glendale. Yeah.
Yeah, it's great.
It's
a great church. I think it's called Glendale Community Church.
Okay.
I don't know. It's great.
Awesome. Man, so the factory so the factory started, you said 2 years ago?
Yeah. Like last year when we did Nothing Special in November, that was kind of our debut of this artist collective, the factory.
When did you know like this was like something kind of big and that you wanted to kind of blow it up more?
I think last year, yeah. I think, self-producing and touring by yourself. I mean, I'm like calling venues being like, can I please perform? It's really exhausting and you kind of get disheartened because you're like, does anybody even want to see this? Does anybody care? But last year when I brought all these team members on and they loved it and they had so much heart and everybody, we're just doing this all for free. We're all just have so much passion for it. Nobody's really making any money yet. So once I started seeing all these people commit their time and energy and their visions to my project, I was like, oh, there must be something that's like really here with it. And then seeing the audience's responses last year and everyone being like, what's next? When are you coming back? And people buying our magazine. It's like, oh, people really enjoy this. So I think like last year I was like, okay, I think we're really going to go somewhere.
Yeah. And you talked about expenses, right?
Yeah.
I know, I'm sure this has a lot of expenses.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit more about like the business logistics of this.
Yeah. I would say last year we kind of went in just with no idea of like a budget or a business plan. And we tried to be a lot more official this year. The business side of it is...
Do you guys have like a company or...
I have a company that's like just me.
Mm-hmm.
And then, they also have their own production companies because they're all artists themselves. But this is all under my production company for right now. And this year we got investors. So people who saw the show last year invested in the project. And that covered a lot of our expenses, which was great. I mean, that was another thing that I was like, oh, people really believe in this. They're willing to like help us put it on financially. So we got a lot of investors. Our open bar is sponsored. So we get all of the alcohol donated to us, which is fantastic and really fun too, to get to partner with people and like, I take so much pride in like whoever has sponsored us and showing off their alcohol, and it's really exciting. But yeah, we just have to be very careful, how much we have to really decide how much tinfoil can we buy. Tinfoil is like one of the biggest expenses, and we always have Polaroid film. That's an expense, but that and like the venue, it's like those are like the real like main expenses. But besides that, I mean, everyone's so talented. Like Dylan will come to us with like amazing ideas on like how to do projections and camera work and how to make it really cheap. And he's calling curtain companies and getting the price lowered for us. It's just like the whole team is so savvy and so used to hustling that it helps our budget a lot.
Yeah. Hey, budgets, it's a big deal, right? Especially for an event like this.
Yeah.
Like you're putting up an event.
Yeah.
Like how long have you been doing events like this? Was this something that you had to learn? How much learning did you have to do?
Oh my gosh. I mean, I had no idea what I was doing when I started. I still feel like this was maybe the first year where I'm like, okay, I actually understand how to throw events now. But there's so much work that goes into it. You have to get a liquor license. You have to, you have to get insurance. You have to, get security, make sure everything's safe, make sure that you're like providing a space that's clean and comfortable and inviting, make sure you have enough seating for people, make sure it's wheelchair accessible. There's so much that goes into event planning that like I really am learning on the fly. I feel like every day we're like, okay, how do we deal with this thing? Has anybody ever dealt with this? And luckily having a team really helps with that. But yeah, event planning is intense. And I didn't realize, the creative process and the performance aspect is why I do it. But now I'm kind of falling in love with the event planning as well. It's so fun. So fun to watch people enjoy your space.
Right. I'm sure it's so rewarding, like watching all these people that come and just enjoy the party, enjoy the place, right?
Yeah.
It's incredible. So how many events do you put out throughout the year? You said you do like throughout the year?
Yeah. So we did a magazine launch party last year.
For the first magazine.
For the first magazine, yeah. So when we launched it, we had like a big party. We foiled all the walls and we rented a venue then too.
Not here though.
Not here. Okay. No, we a much smaller one. But we got sponsored alcohol for that. So, we're really hustling for our parties. And then we have a ton of photo shoots all year, which end up being parties. But in order to make an 80-page magazine, you got to have a lot of content and stuff. Yeah. So, we're constantly just throwing like little parties, and everybody who's in our circle kind of hears about it through our Instagram. We'll post like, we're throwing a party.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. We don't have really a set number. It's just kind of whatever we can make happen. Yeah. This year we forgoed one of our parties because we all traveled to New York together, and we stayed in the Chelsea Hotel, and we did like a cool photo shoot there, which is like a historic hotel that Andy Warhol and Edie Sedgwick used to live at, with like a bunch of other incredible artists used to live there. So we decided to not have one of our parties so that we could all head over to New York and have
you got to sacrifice
a really small party there.
Yeah. So this is the second year you've done it at this venue.
Yeah.
How did you find this building?
Oh my gosh. Last year we had a ticket launch party to promote the show. And we had too many people come to it, and the venue that we were in kicked us out.
That's a good problem to have.
It was a good problem, but they kicked us out.
Oh, okay.
And
That's not a good thing.
They were like, you can't do your show here anymore. Oh. There's too many people, and the space was really small. So we sold out our first night at the ticket launch party, and then we got kicked out of our space at the ticket launch party, and we were 2 weeks away from opening. And so we're just kind of like, okay, we have to find a new venue. And Kristen, one of the producers, she knew somebody who knew somebody else in the building and gave us the phone number. And within the week, she was touring the space with Johnny and a Frat, and was like, you guys got to see this. It's incredible. She's like, this is so much better. I mean, it was such a blessing in disguise. It was so much better than our original venue. And then we completely fell in love with it, and we were like, we have to do this every year here. It's like the best space. So
yeah, no, I mean, I didn't know about this until last week.
Yeah,
I saw this, and this is incredible. And I didn't know this was your second year doing it here.
Yeah,
so that's really cool. So tickets, where do people find tickets, or how do you even market something like this?
Yeah, it's hard. It's always hard to sell tickets to a live event in LA, I think. We really do all of our marketing with like word of mouth and Instagram, Facebook a little bit, TikTok. We're just trying to always make content, put it out there. You know, luckily having 5 producers, it helps you. Each one of us has our own like little networks, which helps bring in like different friend groups to sell tickets to. Getting the sponsors helps a little bit too, because people want to come and drink like certain alcohols, or they'll help us post on their social pages. But really, it's just a lot of word of mouth. We're hoping that there's a day comes where we like don't have to hustle so hard to sell our tickets.
Yeah, I'm sure that day will come. I mean, I think you guys are doing a great job with this.
Thank you.
It's really fun.
It's really fun.
Yeah,
I have a lot of fun. I'm so happy to hear you say that. I mean, it's again, and there's a bunch of artists who work in this building who are always coming upstairs and like partying with us, and like that just brings a whole other creative energy that we're super thankful for. And then we just get to meet the most interesting people.
Yeah. And the social media stuff, do you do that, or who handles all social media stuff?
Yeah, I have been doing a lot of it, but then I've, been like getting more tired, especially as like this 2-week run, as we're producing, we're acting every single night, we're throwing a party every single night, and then we wake up and we have to sell more tickets. So we've all been kind of, it's me and Aparna are linked to the tickets, and Aparna does all of our graphics and all of our design work. Mm-hmm. So she does a lot of our social media as well. And she does like most of the graphic design for the magazine. I do a little bit, but she does most of the design. Yeah, which is incredible.
That's incredible. So like
all she's super talented.
And who does your magazine?
We do it all.
But where do you publish this?
Oh, we publish it. Short Stop Printing, and it's a company in Arizona actually. We kind of took a risk, and we were like, I don't know, they have decent reviews, and we already had the party planned before the magazine was even out. They're like, we have to get this magazine in the mail before the party starts, and they had a really quick turnaround, and they're great. It looks amazing.
Oh yeah, it looks great.
Yeah, we're like very thankful for.
And who writes all this content here? Is that you?
We do it, and we just get our friends also. So we'll kind of approach them with an idea. Like last year, the magazine, or the first issue of the magazine, was more about Nothing Special and how it came to be and who we are. And this one, we ventured out to be more like kind of Alice in Wonderland themed, which was like the theme of the show this year. So we have more like conspiracy theories and magic and, what is reality? That was like more of the theme for this magazine. We just have a lot of fun. I mean, basically anything that we find interesting or funny, we hold on to it and we help people.
Look at that.
That's you.
Yeah. There's Melanie.
There I am at the Chelsea Hotel on the balcony. Very cool.
There's a lot of cool stories in here, huh?
Yeah. And those are our bands and our musical artists we put in there.
Yeah, so let's talk about the band because you have a live band playing there.
Yes.
And they're great.
Yeah.
So where do you get the band from?
Friends. It's really truly just like our network and like we just have the coolest friends and like the most talented people around us. So, friends of friends or whoever we can get. So this year's band, the first weekend's band was Hebe and the GBs, and that was a friend of Aparna's. And the second weekend is Cook, and that was a friend of mine. And I mean, the best part about it is that we get to bring all of these artists together and not only showcase, I want to be on stage, I want to be performing, but so does everybody else, so we get to bring in these bands who get to perform. I think we have 5 different visual artists, like painters, that we're showcasing this week too, or this whole run. So we're just really bringing every artist that we know of and just being like, hey, let's create something. And that's been like the best feedback of all, is that everyone's like, this is just such a cool community to be a part of. And we take a lot of pride in that because we feel like we have built such a good community for ourselves that we just are like, everyone come hang out with us, come join in the community. Yeah.
So this is like your big event.
Yeah.
Right? This weekend. How many weekends? 3 weekends?
2 weekends.
2 weekends.
So we
it
do
was
6
last
performances.
Weekend?
Yeah.
Okay, last weekend, and this is the last weekend, right? Today.
Yeah, tonight's our last night, closing night.
I'll be there. I'm gonna go upstairs and hang out for a bit.
You gotta.
Because they're
it's gonna
fun.
be crazy.
I missed one of the first plays the first time, so I'm gonna check that one out today.
Okay, yeah. Good luck getting a seat. We're very, very
I know,
sold out
I
tonight.
heard that there's like a lot of people coming today.
We have a lot of people. I didn't know closing night was gonna just completely oversell.
That's great.
Yeah, no, it's great. I'm so excited. I think, we have no reason to ration our alcohol anymore. We're just gonna kind of send it tonight. So you got to come upstairs.
I will come upstairs.
It's gonna be the best.
And what a great venue. I mean, this building. I've only been in this building for like 8 months.
Okay.
Yeah, I opened the studio like about 8 months ago, and I fell in love with this building too. It's incredible.
And the building and the people.
Yeah,
I mean,
Johnny,
everybody.
Efrat, like they're wonderful.
They're incredible. Yeah, and Efrat is like selling her baked goods tonight.
Oh,
and
she is. Her stuff is really good.
I
She brings
know.
stuff in here sometimes. It's
incredible. I mean, that's the thing. It's like anytime anybody approaches us, like, "Hey, can I join by doing this?" We're like, "Hell yeah!" Like that's the whole thing. Is that like when you create this space, what we want the factory to really be is just a place where everybody gets to be themselves and be as creative as they want to be and like bask in the community of creativity.
Mm-hmm. Do you encourage people to come dressed up?
Yeah, we do a different theme every night just for fun. The shows stay the same, but the attire changes. So what have we done this year? We've done like a fur night down the rabbit hole. We did a psychedelic night. Last night was our sexiest night. It was called Eat Me.
I went upstairs for a little bit. Yeah. It was cool.
It was quite a scene upstairs last night. I launched a clothing brand last night.
Oh, congrats.
Called Eat
Look
Me.
at you go.
We're just like, we're running.
So this is a clothing brand.
Yeah, it's called Eat Me. It's barely wearable clothing. The joke is that you can hardly wear them. I mean, they're falling off of your body. They're ripping as you wear it.
Okay.
But it's a lot of fun. It creates really sexy
super
nights
unique.
when you wear it.
Super unique. Eat Me, and it's clothes that you could barely wear.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Last night I was putting all the models in the outfits to launch it, and I'm taping these models in because the dresses were falling off. Like, oh, let's just tape it up then. So it's a really silly clothing launch.
Okay, so this clothing brand, like, when did you start this? Is this new?
Yeah, it's so new. It's really started as a joke because for one of our photo shoots for the magazine, I thought it'd be really funny to make a dress out of money. So I made the dress and I got to the photo shoot and it didn't fit the model. So we had to cut it down the back and only shoot it from the front. And the whole back of it was open and it was completely falling off. It was ripping the whole day. And that's the centerfold of the magazine for this issue is like the dress is on, but then in the back, it's just like her bare butt because the dress was totally ripped open. And Allison thought it was so funny. She was like, you have to do this. You have to make these dresses.
So you design these dresses as well?
Yeah.
Oh my, you just do everything.
I'm going to sleep for like 3 weeks after this.
You got to catch up on some sleep. Yeah. So where can people buy this clothes?
We just sold them last night. We sold them off our
just
bodies.
Here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you sell magazines here, the merch. And the clothing.
Yeah, and everything is on our Instagram, and everything is our Instagram's connected to our website. Instagram is Factory Superstars.
Okay.
That's where we have everything that the factory produces is on Factory Superstars. We have interviews with people. We interview a bunch of superstars for our YouTube channel. Last month, I interviewed one of the most famous groupies from the 60s, and I talked to her about like all of her sexcapades with all the famous musicians, and so that's going
Sounds
up on our YouTube.
Sounds like you need a podcast.
I don't know if I could do what you do.
To interview different people, you know?
Yeah, I mean, kind of. That's what we're doing. We're just like we sit our friends down in front of a camera and we just ask them questions. Yeah, I mean, it is what you do.
It's kind of like a podcast.
It's kind of like a podcast. But yeah, we're just kind of following every thread of creativity that sparks our interest.
Yeah. So where's the future of the factory? Like, where do you see this going?
We wanna have like a permanent space where we can exist in, somewhere where we can keep all the walls foiled and we can kind of keep our atmosphere that we create existent year round. And then when we bring people in for the interviews, when we do our magazine sessions, we just kind of have like a real home. And then we just want to do everything we've been doing. You know, we have so many issues lined up, like themes for our magazine that we're ready to produce. I have like 3 new shows that I want to write for actors. I mean, people are asking how to get a part, and I'm like, I just have to write it for you, you know? So, I mean, we're just going to keep performing. We're going to keep interviewing. We're going to keep our magazine going and just really... Again, just like follow all of our creative impulses and see where it goes.
So the next step is getting your own venue, basically.
Yeah, we would love to do that. I mean,
have you started looking into that? What does that look like?
We floated the idea to the foundation to see, you know, how much it would be to have a permanent space here.
Yeah.
I mean, we're so in love with the space, in love with Johnny and Efrat. But yeah, I think that's something that's kind of like we've started a business proposal and we've kind of made a list of people who might be willing to invest. But that's something after the show is over. The show takes so much energy, so much time that we're really going to figure out that next step as we wrap and as we sleep.
Okay, so why should people come to your shows?
Oh, it's the best party in town. It really is. Like it's the best party around. Nobody's doing anything like it. It's so rare to find a party in LA that's an open bar. I think it's really important that once you get inside the doors, you are at the coolest house party to ever exist. I don't ever really want it to feel like you're at a formal event. It really should feel like you're partying with your best friends, even if you don't know anybody in the space yet. Because every time you leave, you do have a new friend, and that's really the community. And there's so many people who joined this year just because they saw it last year and wanted to be a part of it. And, you know, if you're looking for a space to be creative and a space to make friends and a space to interact with like really cool, interesting art, you're going to want to be at the show.
Where can people buy tickets?
You can buy tickets on our website, nothingspecialshow.com. But again, this is our last night, so
until next year.
Until next year, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But throughout the year, this is the last show for this year.
Yeah.
And then when do you do your next show?
We try to do them every November. We might take a year off next November because we're working on an underground movie. So everything that you saw this run of the show, we've actually been recording everything. So when you're in the Caterpillar room and you see Dylan with his camera, it's actually recording. And when you're in the Tea Party room and you see the boom mic, we're actually picking up the sound. And when the king is taking photos in the courtroom, those are real photos. And so we're going to take all of that footage and see what kind of underground movie we can make with it.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Well, Melanie, I love everything you're doing. You and your team are doing an incredible job.
Thank you.
And I love it. I'm going to be there tonight. This is the last day.
I can't wait.
So
let's party.
Yeah, thanks for coming into the studio. What do you think of the studio real quick?
I love it. Johnny showed it to me like a few months ago when we were touring the space to kind of come back. And I remember we knocked on the door. We're like, can we peek in? I mean, it's incredible. I saw it before any of this was done.
Really?
Yeah, last year.
That's right.
None of it was done.
Last year. Because, I've only been here for like 8 months.
Yeah.
But, so you were here last year.
Yeah.
And this was just a room.
It was just a room, dusty.
Yeah. There's a bunch of stuff in here. Just like.
Yeah, it was like storage. I mean, it's incredible. The set design, like the way that they put spaces together here is incredible.
It's another level.
It's another level. I mean, every time it's just more and more beautiful. But this is so bright and inviting and like such a great place to be.
I love it. So before we wrap up, where can people find you?
You can find us at Factory Superstars on Instagram. You can find me personally at Hello Melanie Ann on Instagram, and our website, nothingspecialshow.com.
Incredible. Well, thank you again for coming in, and I'm looking forward to tonight.
Me
Let's
too.
do it.
Let's get to it.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.